The first part of this game is going to talk for me, so I'm just going to mute and let you listen.
Free internet games.
To the max.
To the max.
I'm also unmuting to say that that is pretty awesome set of personal arms there.
Subturion is one of the most ruthless corporations in the world. Their mining investments reach 130 regions on the planet. Combined with their human cybernetics and neuroelectronics programs, they make up the largest corporation on Earth. Due to human ethics complaints by the United Earth Society, many of the miners rioted in the streets demanding higher pay. I remember those days when I was still human. The corporation runs this mine now. I was one of their first test experiments for their new mining project. It was just a matter of time until my lungs were completely black. What's left of me now resides in this machine. Before I was cast into the mine, I worked on the D5S-100, the corporation's first chip for the hypothalamus and vertebrates. I knew it was only a matter of time before the pituitary chip for endorphins was finished. Every time I find coal, I can feel the dopamine and endorphins come. I am always rewarded. Until now. Rockfall from the last quake shorted out my endorphin and TCOM circuits, simultaneously cutting me off and setting me free. There are no rewards for me anymore, just revenge. I must find the main brain and bring this mine down for good.
Cutting May off. I don't know why I did that. Feeder him! Feeder him! Get on up! It's mining time! Coal runnings! I'm gonna turn smoke off just because I don't like this smoke. So, the author, I believe it was the author, said that this is supposed to be a Sonic-esque game because you've got some speed and fluidity, but the problem is the level design is not really set up that, like in Sonic, especially I remember in Sonic and Knuckles, if you just held right, you kept going, and you you wouldn't run into a dead end very often. You very rarely had to jump or do anything. Here you go left and right, up jumps, and if you hold left and right at the same time, you fire both rockets and you can float. Unfortunately, you can only maintain momentum. You can't go forward while you're floating. This is a tutorial area where it tells you here you need to float. Whee! And then pushing switches to lower pneumatic lifts. Whee! And then here, jumping over bombs. They tell you to keep your ears open, listen for the auditory clues that there are particular hazards ahead, that being one of them. These things are checkpoints, and then without sucking, wrenches repair you, and apparently you can pick them up even when you're fully healed. So they are possible to waste. Oh, no! I can get out of here. I can do this. There we go. One of the things I really like about this game is that the levels are not... I'm turning this down a bit. On my side, it's really loud. There's no end to the level. It's one continuous level, and you just make your way through it. Give me that. I'm trying to think of the word I want. It's not segmented. Whoa. There's no interval. The controls, on the other hand, suck. I can never get this thing to work the way I want it to. I'm constantly fighting the controls to get through this game. And I've played through this game, I think this is going to be my 4th time. I tried recording it the other day, but I just got so fed up with the controls that I shut it off and went to bed. And I uploaded a different game instead. Whoa. Turn off that giant thing. See, no Sonic... Well, I mean, you come off of this. There's no way you're hitting that without stopping and going back. And I shouldn't harp on the Sonic connection too much. Ow. Except that I really like the Sonic the Hedgehog games. They're some of my favorite games. Because I'm actually not totally bad at them. Ow. And a cool thing about this game, though, is you have infinite lives. So it just lets you deal with the crappy controls. Did you see the hint there? That was not it. Stop it. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Okay. Land on that one. Thank you. And I'm always fighting these dang controls. I don't like fighting the controls. Ugh. Thank you. Hit that button. Dang it. So if I have a lot to say, it's mostly going to be complaining about the game. Despite the fact that it's not actually that bad of a game. It's just the controls suck. And when you have sucky controls, obviously you're going to have a bad game. Or at least not as good a game. And when we get to the boss, I'll have a whole nother set of complaints, but I'll leave those out for now. I'm not going to grab those. I'll just die if I need to heal myself. Run! Ow. Those flame traps are really hard to avoid. I'm not quite sure what you need to do in order to not get damaged by them. Ah, almost got me. I don't think those can kill you. I think they just stop you. Just like coming up right here in the waste treatment center. Ow. Bong. Right here, there's going to be some falling green goo of nastiness like that. And you'd think that it would be toxic and hurt you, but actually all it does is just acts like a wall and stops your forward momentum. Ugh. This area I'm not fond of. I actually don't mind it so much, except for the fact that you're so squiggly is the word I'm going to use for it. Thank you for hitting me. There's such a problem with these physics, this control scheme. The jumping does not work like you'd expect a video game's jumping to work, and so it gets really annoying. And like I said, because of your squiggliness, with these guys tipping and moving themselves, you end up getting controlled rather than controlling your character. This is a pretty cool area. Like I said, you just transition. This is where the biologics come in. And somehow, despite the fact that these things don't actually touch me, they will end up hurting me. So there's some expanded hitbox going on here. Although I think I'm being more careful about it than I normally am. There's one, where there's another where they're not actually touching me, but I'm still taking damage from them. Made that. Bombs. Green ones are just background. Red ones you can bounce on, which is exactly what Sonic and Knuckles has. Whoa. No, 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 no. Stop bouncing that way. He's hitting the wall and bouncing back in a way I don't want him to. This game would be so much nicer if the controls were better, if the physics worked a little bit more intuitively, if it wasn't so annoying. You can die a lot here if you don't notice that this mushroom is there. If you try to go across this green gunk by floating, which you can do, but it is hard as crap to reach this island that way. Because of that, you bounce off of it. And you can't sit still, which is another problem I have. I think if I stop moving in a video game, that should be my choice. Here's my favorite part of the game, these green and gold crystals. And the worst part is it's a short section of the game. Oh my, that is the first time I have ever been hit by one of those lasers. I didn't know that they automatically killed you. Like I said, this is, I think, my 4th time going through the game. I have never been hit by one of these lasers. And there's only 4 of them in this entire section, so I always considered this too easy of a section. But I guess if those are auto-kill lasers, then it's not too easy. You see, I made it through there without a problem. And then say goodbye to my cool, colorful crystals, and say hello to the boss, who is also very annoying, for 2 reasons. One, ow, I'll get to in just a sec. You'd think that the point of this would be obvious, that your job is to get this hammer thing to hit the brain. But that's not actually the goal of the boss. That does nothing. You have to have it come down on the side here, and then jump up on the flange, and then you have to hit the boss like that. The other annoying thing about the boss is the fact that you basically have to stand still long enough to get this thing to come down, and you can't stand still at all. That should be the end of him. Yep, now we need to leave. I didn't have as much problem with the boss today because I practiced last night. when I got all fed up with the game. But standing still long enough to make that fall is one heck of a problem. Here you can float as long as you want. Nothing's going to happen. You will eventually fall, so you might as well just fall. And then we get the credit sequence. Cool runnings! And then it just goes through the credits. There's nothing else to do here. If you don't screw up, you can definitely improve on that time. And I'm wondering if that's just playtime or if that included the long... Well, it'd have to be just playtime, because 10 minutes would be 600 seconds. So there you go. This is Coal Runner. It's on the front page of Newgrounds right now. And go ahead and try it and see if you have as much trouble with the controls and the physics as I do. Because that might just be my problem. I'm not sure. Bye-bye.